Okay, let's go. Um, Last weekend I played in another tournament. 6 rounds of classical games spread over 3 days, so 2 games a day. Uh, and I'm going to, uh, I'm going to analyze these games one by one. Um, yeah, I'd say I did decently. The the tournament was split into groups, and the group I'm in terms of rating was, uh, I believe I was one of the lowest rated players, at least in the group. So I had a tough challenge ahead of me. Uh, so let's see how I did. First game I was white against someone. So I was, of course, we played 6 rounds of Swiss. So I was, of course, playing against someone with a very high rating in the first game because I was very low. Because the way it works, the first round at least, I believe there were 80 people in this group. No, less. Like 60 and a little bit more, maybe. Maybe 70 even. Something like that. Um, so let's say there's 70 people. So the first one plays against number 36. Second one plays against 37, and so on. And I was like 55 or so. So I played against like 16. Uh, but at least I played white, so that's something. I played e4, and my opponent went into a... let's turn off the engine for now. We went into a mainline Caro Kann with knight f6, which I just take. He takes f6. And I don't actually know I believe the next move here is h3, right? Not yet, maybe. There is a point where you should probably play h3. I played knight f3, bishop d6. Is it here then? No. Or bishop d3 makes sense to me. Castle, because you really want to get off of the e file, so you really want to develop these two in castle as soon as possible. But now bishop g4 happens, which is something I could have prevented. But then again, that would delay castling by a move, and maybe you get rook e8 check with a tempo and the rook becomes good immediately. Yeah, whatever. So I think this is decent still for me, but I don't like this pin. I play c3 because there might be some issues if the knight doesn't defend this pawn anymore. Rook e8 happened, of course. And now I played h3, which is just usually a good tempo to include, bishop h5. And I mean, here I started to wonder, like, there are a couple of things I could do. Let's look at this bishop though. Doesn't really have anywhere it wants to go. This is a bad bishop for me. I want to try to find something it can do. But I eventually decided to just delay it. I decided to look at this, because these two pieces are quite bad now. This bishop is brilliant, but the rest is quite mediocre. This bishop is also, like, it's fine. I can't even, like, play my queen, because then I just allowed them to take my knight. I want to kind of do this, but nah. So instead what I decided to do is try to make this knight a lot better. I played g4, which is arguably not great. Bishop g6 and knight h4, and I'm going to plant my knight on f5, kicking this bishop. And if it goes here or here, I get bishop f4. And if it goes here, then I mean, that's still okay. And then my knight is just, I might have some sort of kingside attack here, because this bishop won't be defending. But first they take my bishop, I take back. Knight d7 and knight f5 happens here. Bishop c7. So the kingside attack is kind of difficult actually, I realized basically here. So this is kind of just a weakness. My knight is good though, but my bishop is quite bad. I saw that my opponent can do something, either of these, but I decided to allow that. Oh yeah, I remember what I did. I wanted to play queen e2 if on knight e5, but that's kind of an issue with the discovered attack here. And on knight c5 I think queen c2 probably. So I decided to play bishop e3, so knight e5, queen e2, and then I defend c4, I defend g4 maybe, which might not be necessary, but I thought bishop e3 made sense. It also kind of prevents the pawn to go to c5. Yeah, because if the knight takes, I take the queen in between and then win the piece. But knight c5 happens. And here, so the knight can go to e4 if it wants, which was kind of annoying, but I just can't ever stop it either. So what I thought I could do is, well, my knight is great here, in theory, but it can get kicked out, so I decided to play queen c4 such that if g6 ever happens, I just win f7, so you can't play g6 while my queen is on this diagonal. The knight doesn't actually go to e4, it goes to e6, which puts g6 back into the game. And I just allow that. I play rook a to e1, and g6 happens. Rook a e1 just tries to fight on the e file, and maybe allows f4 in some variations. Knight goes back to g3. If I go to h6, it just gets stuck there. So I have to go back to g3. And here queen d6 happens, and here I realized that I was in a bit of trouble, because I mean this knight is just pinned to checkmate, and there's no real way to solve any of that. F4 sometimes is possible, but now it's attacked thrice and I only defended twice. Also, I thought that f5, f4 was coming, because the knight just can't ever move and his bishop has no squares. So f5, f4, knight moves f3 or something, or just, like, let's say I've moved back already. Knight, where does it even go? Like here? Is that possible? Or maybe knight g5 first. Go to f3. Yeah. So I decided to basically prevent f5, because take doesn't help me, but if I play queen d3, take helps me. This does allow knight c5 and knight e4, but I did find a solution to that. There is a solution, because this is threatens to lose a pawn, threatens to win a pawn for black at least, and the only solution in the position right now is bishop f4, which I did see at least. And if you take, then I can take here. So it's okay. My opponent actually also spotted bishop f4, which I was kind of shocked by. So they didn't play knight e4, they just went back to e6. So I made an improvement here, probably, doing this. So now I can play f4 as well, and solve some of these issues. I think f4 works if you... Oh yeah, no, it definitely works because you can't ever take the bishop. And I also have this in between, and I have, if you tried this in between, I have that in between as well. So for example, if you try this with the idea that you can get 2 rooks here, you don't actually even get 2 rooks, I don't think, because that. And if you try this in between, I get this. Same thing. So you can't actually take. My opponent expected that f5 would be quite strong if once I defend everything, of course. So played knight g7. Yeah. And here I play knight e4. This is defended by my queen laterally. So now I'm slowly getting ready to start attacking again, basically, or more generally, just get my knight active. Queen d8 happened. Yeah, and here it also attacks this pawn, of course, and that was my current plan. I thought that that g5 would just be winning here, but I missed my opponent's move. I probably should have played f5 first, I think. Yeah, maybe f5 and then queen g2 and attack or something. That should probably be quite decent. But I played g5 and missed knight h5, which is kind of unfortunate. But I can still, if I play f5, then I can still start a serious attack probably. But it also allows knight g3, which I didn't want. So I played queen g2 first. This also allows knight g3, but you first have to sack the exchange and win the exchange back. Kind of unfortunate, but I think this is still, this is actually good for me. Queen went to f3, and knight takes f1. I take with the king to keep the e-file open. And mine. Yeah. So now, this bishop is terrible. This bishop is bad, but not as bad. I have the e-file, and I have a bit more space. My opponent here makes a quite bad move, I think. My opponent plays f5. It does block, put my pawns permanently on dark squares, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. Because I just have the e-file and I'll eventually get some pressure going. Bishop d2 to put my queen on the e-file as well. Queen d7 to try to fight back against the e-file. Queen e3, king f8. Threatening rook d8, trading everything and being slightly better in an endgame maybe as black. But even then I still have a d-pawn, a 4v3 here. And this... I don't think you have a breakthrough here as black, usually. So I thought that that would be fine still. Also I can prevent rook d8 with c4, which I played. Which I think was quite a funny move. And the point is that in a lot of lines you get bishop b4 check, deflecting the defense of the king. or after bishop d6, deflecting the defense of the queen. So you can't play rook e8. So my opponent played rook d8, putting pressure here, threatening to win this pawn. I can't actually play d5. I looked at this game already with someone who said that d5 was a move that I should be playing 20 moves ago, basically. But I don't know. It never really got in. I didn't really understand why. Generally, I mean, the rule of thumb is my opponent starts attacking on the king side, I should strike in the center, but I didn't really see what it would do. So yeah, I defend this pawn, bishop c3, and now queen d6 happens, attacking this pawn, and there's only one solve, which is queen e5. And here I basically forced the queen trade because of queen h8 options. You can also maybe play king h8, but then I think I can play queen e8 even if I wanted to, because of d5 issues. And so you have to sack the queen immediately. But even then, that's not great for me actually. But my opponent just takes. And now I have two options. I can either take like that and allow this connected or defended passed pawn on f5, but I get a massive center that might be able to crash through, or I take like this and let the rook in, or I take with the rook actually, maybe no, but then they just take with the bishop and we're in the same issue, the same problem. I decided in the end to take with the f-pawn, which might be accurate, I'm not sure. Now we enter an endgame, my opponent moves up the king, I move up my king. Okay, so yep, f2, e6 and f3. I didn't want to go here because of issues with pins and it blocks in the rook maybe at times. Rook h8 happens here, trying to create a breakthrough, but I can easily prevent that with rook d1. And the issue is that I just double discovered attack, win the rook if they leave it there. So you have to just go back. I actually want to show that that's really genuinely it, because let's say you play h6 here, d5, you have two options. Here it's obvious that I get this discovered attack, and here I get the fork. And can't even take, because then this is a discovered attack again, which is quite funny. So rook just returns, rook d2 makes sense because there was a threat here, because the pawn was pinned. Could have also played king e2, but I like this. Rook d7, my opponent also just waits. And here I can probably do nothing and make a draw, but I decided to try to do something. My plan was to play d5 at some point, and if I trade, then I get the passed pawn. But actually I can't defend this pawn sufficiently to push it ever, because I can't get here with the king, and it's a light square. Therefore I have to get rid of this pawn. For that I can push these pawns, and I saw that if I get here, they don't have to take yet, but then I can get there, and then something has to happen. So if my opponent does nothing and I get these pawns there, then my plan actually works, and I can push through. Uh, so how do you get there? Yeah, well, you have to push the pawns, and which pawns do you push first? I decide. So you can easily just, you can probably just play a4. I decided to play b4, which is probably wrong. A4 is probably the right move, but I thought that a5 would be quite annoying here. But maybe I get this. The bishop can't actually move out of the way for the rook, so I'd have to do something like that. And then that might be something. Like I have to defend this pawn. Maybe. But I play b4 and they play b5, and that's just, this is just terrible for me actually. Because, I mean, if I don't take, I can't actually defend this pawn. If I push, then the king gets in. If I take, I can try to stop the king from getting in. Take. And rook c2. Right, this happened in the game. Actually, sorry, the bishop b6 happened first, forcing king e3, and then only then king d5 happened. Now I can prevent the king entering, but then the rook forces me to trade it off. And I can just barely prevent the king from coming in, but then this pawn runs and my bishop is still bad, and I just lose this endgame. Bishop b6, bishop c3, preventing a5, but a6 happened, and I play h4 to defend, play a3 to defend. I didn't want to go get this pawn yet, because then I lose this and that and that. And yeah, I decide to do it like this, which is also bad, because I lose the e-pawn in the end, and this pawn endgame is just losing. I mean, it's still interesting. I looked at I've been looking at pawn endgames as well for a bit, but usually they're just winning if you have an extra pawn, and this one's probably quite easy to win, yeah. Even though I have opposition here. f5 it claims, but you don't even have to play f5. I mean, we played for a couple extra moves, but in the end I end up resigning. My opponent played it very well. They basically played against his weak bishop, and yeah, there was just nothing I could do. I mean, I could have prevented them from being able to play against my weak bishop. At some point in this game, I should probably not be doing this as well, but I think I played quite well, genuinely. Let's take a look at the dough. Knight f6, take. This still makes sense, castle makes sense. Bishop g4, c3, yeah, okay. Maybe h3 here, but now h3 is good. g4 it does actually kind of like. It doesn't hate it. Bishop g6 forced, knight h4, take. Then knight f5 is good. Queen f3 is not a move I looked... Oh, I see the point though. You just... Oh, actually, did I look at that? Maybe I did. And the point is to just prepare bishop f4 to trade off bishops. That's it. Yeah, but now I'm just slightly worse permanent. Actually, it's okay still. But now I'm just... Apparently this is not good. Queen d3 is a good move though, but yeah, very slightly worse permanently. And I thought knight e4 was probably correct, even though I have bishop f4, which is the only chance I have. But it's... yeah. Yeah, you're just still just slightly better, but now I get f4, and now I thought that was quite decent. And knight e4, and apparently, yeah, f5 and g5. f5 makes sense immediately as well. But I played g5 missing. I mean, you can take, that's totally fine for me as well, but knight h5 immediately was kind of the issue. And f5 there. I don't see the point. Genuinely. But yeah, queen g2. And now f5 apparently is just very winning. Why is that? Oh, you lose the f-pawn. Because overloaded and everything. Whatever. It's missed, but this is still... apparently this is still okay for black. I thought that or at least f5 is still okay. I thought that I'd have a bit of an advantage here even. This. Okay, now the advantage is back. And d5. Doesn't that just sack a pawn? Or maybe it just doesn't. Queen d6, forcing queen e5. And you should take with the f-pawn. Yes, that's what I assumed. Because of rook d3, yes. And... like, the person who I analyzed with is of course a lot better, and he immediately started screaming that I took with the f-pawn and gave this to black, but apparently it's just the best move. And I should play a4, and they should play b5, and I should prevent b5. Let's try, they tried this. d5. Now it doesn't work, right? I thought it wouldn't work. Oh, if this you... oh, you have to kick... you kick the rook? Whoa. I can just block the... so not, let's say here. That just wins a piece in the end. Whoa, I missed that. That's unfortunate. I thought that it wouldn't work here. So I played rook d1, in which case it would work. Rook d2 makes sense. They should still play b5. Rook d7. I should still play a4. But I missed b... now b5 is really very winning. Yeah. And there's just... or very winning. Now it's just good. Yeah, and there's just... yeah, if I just go back then I just lose everything, and... yeah. This is what I assumed would happen if I didn't take the rook. But not taking the rook is also very losing. Yeah. Opponent played well. Well, that's game one. And I ended game one with a loss, but that's fine. I mean, I wasn't actually playing to win the entire tournament because I play against 2,000 people, and that's just not my level yet. Um, so yeah, but let's see if I can get some points at in the road towards, well, I mean in this tournament. Let's see if I can just get get some points, and then we'll be happy. See you for the next one.